My name is Rahim, third-generation owner of 47 acres just outside Austin, Texas. This land has been in my family since 1955, back when barbecue joints outnumbered tech companies by 1,000 to 1. My grandfather, Pops. We all called him, believed land was a blessing, a sacred trust. He always said, if you take care of the soil will take care of you. I was just a kid then, but his words burned into me like fire. That soil wasn't just dirt. It was our legacy. In 1978, Pops built a small earth dam on the property. Folks laughed at first, asking, what good will that do? But Pops knew, if rainwater could be held, the cattle would live, the crops would grow, and neighbors would survive the dry spells. He wasn't a trained engineer, just a farmer with grit. But he had Army Corps blueprints and faith. That little dam was plain, almost invisible. But over time, it became our family's greatest treasure. My childhood played out across those hills. I chased cattle through tall grass, got muddy in the creeks, and sat by Pops as he told stories. He'd point to the back 40 acres and say, someday this land will be worth more than gold. I didn't understand then. I'd just laugh and look at the sky. But years later, I'd realize Pops never lied. Life carried me away from the ranch. I joined the Army, served 2 tours in Afghanistan, and became a water engineer. Out there, I drilled wells in deserts, built canals through dust, and learned that 1 drop of clean water could save 1,000 lives. I saw firsthand that water was stronger than bullets. Armies march on it, villages survive by it. That was the lesson the desert taught me. But while I fought overseas, betrayal grew back home. A homeowners association, Willowbrook Estates, set their eyes on our ranch. To them, I was just an absent soldier with no defense. They took the land, paved roads, built McMansions, and filled the streets with HOA Karens and golf carts. They thought they'd created a paradise. But in truth, they built it on stolen ground. When I came home, battle scars still fresh, they handed me an eviction notice. Their lawyers smirked, their suits pressed, their confidence unshakable. They thought I'd break, thought I'd bow my head and walk away. But I said nothing. I only reached into my bag, pulled out a single piece of paper, and slid it across the table. Silence fell heavy in the room. That paper was a 1923 water rights deed. It proved that every drop in that dam, every gallon flowing downstream, belonged to my family. Their eyes widened, their faces drained of color. Because suddenly they realized the truth. Their McMansions, their pools, their manicured lawns, all stood below my grandfather's dam. And the man sitting before them was an Army Corps engineer. The real game had just begun. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't need to. I simply walked out toward the dam Pops had built decades ago. That dam had saved our cattle, our neighbors, our land. Now it would save our legacy. I gripped the old iron wheel and gave it a turn. History shifted with the grinding of rusted gears. At first, the water trickled, slow and steady. Then it rushed forward like a freed river. The golf course disappeared beneath waves. Luxury cars floated like toys, and manicured lawns turned to swamps. The paradise they built dissolved in hours. I watched water reclaim what arrogance had stolen. Their screams carried. But to me, it was just the sound of justice. 35 McMansions turned into lakefront property by nightfall. The HOA's paperwork meant nothing, soaked and shredded in muddy water. But my deed, signed in 1923, was ironclad. The law stood on my side, the earth stood on my side, and Pop's voice echoed in my memory. I stood tall on the dam, watching it all, and I swear I felt him smiling from the heavens. The HOA leaders came stumbling toward me, suits ruined, shoes lost in the mud. They begged, their voices cracking, "Please stop this! We'll find a way, we'll pay you back!" But I looked at them coldly. These were the same people who thought they could erase my family with a piece of paper. Now they were drowning in their own arrogance. This was not my doing, it was theirs. In court, I presented the deed before the judge. The room went silent. No lawyer dared to speak against it. Because in Texas, water law is iron. He who owns the water owns the land. The judge nodded once, voice firm. The rights remain with Rahim's family. And in that moment, I knew the war was won without a shot fired. Willowbrook Estates became a ghost of itself. The houses cracked and sagged by the water's edge. Algae grew on windows. Frogs sang where once there had been. Cocktail parties. The golf carts rusted under the sun. Abandoned. Those who once boasted of paradise now avoided it like a curse. My land had washed their arrogance away. The neighbors came to me, hats in hand. "Rahim," they said, "you saved your grandfather's land. We're proud of you." In their eyes, I wasn't just a soldier. I was a protector. This land wasn't only mine, it was for everyone who lived downstream. The dam had given them life, and now it gave them justice. For the first time in years, I felt peace. One evening, I sat by the lake as the sun sank low. The sky burned orange, water shimmering like fire. And I heard Pop's voice in my memory. "See? Land never betrays. Only people do." My eyes stung with tears, but they were tears of pride. This fight wasn't just for soil or water. It was for history, for family, for honor. Today, Willowbrook Estates no longer exists on the map. People now call it Willowbrook Lake. Families come to fish, children play, couples picnic by the water. The lake has become laughter where greed once ruled. The HOA's empire is gone, washed away, and my family's name is carved deeper into the land. I learned in the Army that not all battles are fought with bullets. Some are fought with patience, law, and the strength of the land itself. This was one of those battles. No blood spilled, yet justice thundered louder than any cannon. My family had won, not through violence, but through truth. And I had finally returned to my roots. Every morning, I walk to the lake's edge. Mist rolls across the surface. Sunlight dances on the ripples. It is more than water. It is history, living and breathing. Every wave carries my grandfather's laughter. And every sunrise reminds me why I fought so hard. People often ask me, why risk it all? I smile because they'll never understand. Land isn't just dirt. It's blood, memory, and destiny. It's the root of who we are. If it must be defended, then no risk is too great. For me, protecting this land was no different from taking an oath as a soldier. Now I stand on the same soil Pops once walked. The wind sweeps through the grass. The lake glimmers behind me. The land is safe once more. No HOA, no greedy hands will ever touch it again. I close my eyes and whisper, "Pops, I kept your promise. And I know this is the greatest victory of my life."